Hello and welcome to the Prelude to Woodbury Part 2. Brian is not yet the villainous leader he will become. He lives in the shadow of his brother Philip, who has led the group to Wiltshire Estates, an upper-class gated community. Philip has sent Brian out to explore the streets and come back with something they can use to survive. In the main rulebook, doing a solo mission, you add +1 to the threat tracker every turn. But the way the Prelude to Woodbury missions are done, that is not the case, so we will be doing it that way. We have a couple of new actions that are added to the game now, one being shoot and the other one being hold nerve. Hold nerve is the one where you can reduce the threat level, and that can be quite important. But let's get on with it. With the threat level being the biggest danger, we're going to run 8 inches directly into the middle. We want to get as much done as possible before the threat goes up too far. Because we ran, we made noise, so the closest walker is going to move into base contact with us. And that takes away my second action. So, the event phase, nobody in kill zone, we need an event card. We've got won't stay down. Well, we're threat level 1. There's no walker lying down, so that puts the threat level to 2. But as we're in combat in the melee phase, that puts our threat level to 3. So let's roll some dice. That's not the best start. Let's see what the walker gets. I've taken 1 damage already, so I get pushed back, and my health is down to 4. The objective in this mission is to get the 5 supply counters and get back to your starting board edge. But that's the end of turn 1. And now the start of turn 2. Okay, so now we should be able to sneak 4 inches into base contact with the car so we can search the supply. Let's see what we get. So we've got a lurker that does 2 red dice in attack. So the lurker gets 2 damage, and I've got 2 red dice as defense. I defended one of them, so I've taken 1 extra damage, and the threat tracker goes up by 1. And now it's the event phase, so we've got to check the kill zone. No, he's not in. Event card it is. We have low threat, so we move 1 eligible walker in the direction of your choice. Ha, that's handy. So the walker that's right up top, I'm going to move him 6 inches to the right into the corner. There's nothing to do in this end phase, so we'll move on to the next turn. As the objective is to get all the supply counters and get out, I think I'm just going to run to the top left supply counter. But I need to be careful how I position myself, so I need to make sure I can get to the counter. But as I'm going to be making noise, I'm going to be attracting the closest walker to walk towards me, and I believe it's the green dress. Which it is, but this is how you use barriers to your advantage. They'll be walking straight towards me and come to a stop at the barrier. My second action, I'm going to search the supply counter. We get to pick out a supply card, and let's hope that we get something better than a lurker. And we've got a tire iron. Add a white dice to melee attacks. I'm happy with that. Okay, now to check the kill zone. Ooh. That could be in, could be out. That is right on the line. I'll count it as in. I'll move her in. I've got the tire iron now. It's alright. Time to pull the next event card. And we have the hunger. +1 threat straight away. And we have to move 1 eligible walker straight towards the nearest survivor. The closest walker will move 6 inches straight towards Brian, but as there's a barrier in the way, it will stop short and not get into combat. Melee phase. We're in combat, +1 to the threat tracker. Time to roll some dice. 2 white for Brian, and 1 red for the walker. Beat the walker by 1, so push her back and knock her down. And now we've just got the end phase. We have a walker prone, so we've got to roll the black dice. If you get a shield, the walker gets back up. So that's the end of that turn, and time to move on to the next turn. I'm just going to sneak to the right, as there's no chance I can search the supply counter this turn. I'm going to hold nerve instead. Roll of the black dice on a shield. Yes, I get to lower the threat. Okay, now we're back in the event phase. The kill zone she is in. And now for the event card, which is 2 quiet, so that's a +1 and another +1. And I'm in combat as well in the melee phase, so that's +1 more. Now there's an example how quickly the threat tracker can go up. That's a bit worrying. But combat, 2 white dice. I roll 2. The walker gets 1. Walker gets pushed back and knocked down. Now the end phase. Black dice for the first one. Gets back up. Black dice for the second one. That one's staying down for the moment. And now it's time to start the next turn. Okay, so we're going to sneak down and be in contact with the car so we can search the supply crate. Let's see what we can get. We have a hunting knife, so we'll just put that in our backpack. And now it's the event phase. Nothing's in the kill zone, so let's have a look at the card. Frayed nerves. One model with low or medium nerve causes mayhem. Brian has only got medium nerve, so we cause mayhem, and all the walkers within 10 are going to move directly towards us. First one gets stopped by the car, the second one will get stopped by the barrier, and the final one will shamble 6 inches straight towards me. Now the end phase, just got to roll to see if that walker gets up. Nope. Now we're going to sneak to the middle supply counter, getting as far right as possible without touching the base of the walker, to give us the best chance to get to the final supply counter. But we're going to search this one, and let's see what we got in our supply deck. Ammo reload. Well, we can chuck that straight in the backpack. And now the event phase, so he's definitely in the kill zone, so we'll just move him into base contact. There are no other walkers in the kill zone, so it's time to move on to the event deck. So let's pull one up. And we've got the hunger, so that's +1 to the threat level. And we've got to roll a blue dice and move that many walkers towards Brian. Just the one. The walker will shamble round the barrier. Takes about 2 inches, and then 4 inches towards Brian. Yeah, that's it. And now melee, which puts the threat level up by 1. 2 white dice. 2 damage. The walker gets 1 damage, so I beat it by 1. Push him back, knock him over. Now for the end phase, let's see if any of these walkers get back up. So the top one first, yes. And then for the other one. Nope, that one's staying down for the moment. And that's the end of that turn. For my first action, we're going to move straight towards the supply counter. Instead of sneaking 4 inches, I think it'd be better to run all the way to the other side of the counter, making my next turn easier. That does cause noise, so we're going to have the closest walker shamble towards us. And she's the closest, so let's move her 6. There we go. Didn't get into base contact with me, so I get to search the supply counter. And then let's see what supply we get. Last one, a 2x4. Okay, we'll just chuck that in our backpack with the rest of it. And now for the event phase, so we'll check. Yep, she is inside, well, I'm inside that walker's kill zone, so we'll move her into base contact. And now for the event card. And we have Pandemonium, so that's +1 to the threat. So it's medium threat, so we've got to roll 2 blue dice. So the closest 2 walkers have to move towards us. And then we have to roll 1 blue dice to see how many extra walkers enter the battlefield. That's 3 additional walkers, and we can put them wherever we like. Thankfully, I'll just stick them up the top, out of the way. Hopefully they won't get to be involved. Okay, and now we move on to the melee phase. So the threat goes up by 1, so now we're in high threat. We get 2 white dice, 2 damage. The walker doesn't do anything. Push the walker back and knock it down. Well, that's it. I should, depending on 1 dice roll, have won this mission now. But first of all, let's see if these walkers get back up. Okay, first walker. Nope. And the second walker. Nope. Well, here it goes. This is it. The dice roll. You've got to roll the panic dice because we're at high threat. Flee, quiet, or scream will stop me from winning. And we've got the question mark, which is terrified. I'm only allowed to perform 1 action, which doesn't matter because I can run all the way to the edge of the board. And that's it. Mission complete. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. You'll notice that the Prelude to Woodbury, the rules are slightly different with the going solo rules in the main rulebook. And you'll also notice that you can end with more walkers on the battlefield than you started with. We started with 4, and we ended with 7, though 2 of them were prone. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you for part 3.